Hello everybody, this is Jenny McGurvey and I am here with my week 33 of Project Life. As you can see, I have some items set out, including my notebook, which maps out all of the things that I'm going to hope to accomplish in this week's spread. I don't know how much I've told you about this notebook in the past. I know that I've given you a little reasoning behind it. I also like to use this because I can work on different styles of handwriting. My typical handwriting is what I use with my handwritten journaling, and so I like to use this to play around a little bit, and I wouldn't be able to do that if I did this on the computer, in addition to all the other reasons that I do it this way. Now, and you can see in the video that I am messing around on my phone. It's actually not just playing. I realized that I had not printed a photo that I wanted to use in this particular spread. So I'm doing that right now, and it's so awesome with the selfie and then the pick frame app. I'm able to print the exact size that I need and get it right away. I'm laying out the Scraptastic Kit Club September This Life Noted kit. As you can see, there are a lot of elements included in this kit, and I'm picking out the things that I think that will work for me, giving myself a little refresher in what's involved in the kit and what I can use for this particular layout. Now I'm going to go through this little package of ephemera pieces, which are so cool. I knew immediately I wanted a tag for that upper left-hand corner photo. And I knew that I wanted to use another piece or two of that ephemera on this particular side. And I end up finding two pieces that are absolutely perfect and work great for this layout. Now I'm going to switch some things out, and I think that's the beauty of it for me, is staying flexible and not getting so set, because sometimes you find things that will work better. Actually, what happens a lot of times is that I see it in watching this video. Oh, I should have used this instead. That would have been better. But I'm not particularly rigid, so it's okay for me. I am going to look for another photo to print that I realized I also didn't print, but it doesn't work out. I don't find it, and I don't really care, so I just sort of move on in a moment. That lower left-hand piece of yellow cardstock that says BTS, it's meant to symbolize back to school. It's just a very simple cut that I did on my Cameo. I just created a 4x6 and then typed BTS in the Bebas font and cut it out. That was it. I will back it with some patterned paper. I'll use a sheet, I believe from Bella Boulevard from the We Will Rock You kit. It works with the theme of this particular layout. It's got some nice colors and it's pretty bright, and that is just my little contribution to this kit since this is the back to school week. Now I'm really enjoying these red alphabet stickers. I like the size and the font, and the color is pretty good, and I end up using a large portion of them this week, and I end up running out of a couple of letters. E for sure, I'm not remembering which other ones, and so then that limits me over on the right side, but it works out fantastic, and I'm really excited to have that cohesiveness of using the same alphabet stickers throughout, and the red adds a little bit of pop to this particular page. Now after I add those red alphabets right on top of that tag, that card will be finished, and it's really not like what happened that week, that particular photo. It's just a view of out my backyard, and I like adding that because A, this is a new house, and B, it's, you know, part of what we're seeing right now, and I like to add those things in addition to not just what we're doing, but also where we're living, what we're seeing, those types of things, because you won't always remember that, and the views change and things like that, so I like to include that about right now. So now, as you can see, I've got a couple of the cards completed and ready to go, though I definitely still have some holes that I need to fill as well. Now that was one of the photos that I just printed, and I got it trimmed down. And now I'm going to go through the wood veneer that is exclusive to this Life Noted kit and figure out what I'm going to use. Now I do adhere down this circle yes, which is really cool, and I like it a lot. I don't end up leaving it there, but I do really like it, and I try to use it on a different card, and I actually kind of hate how it turns out, but that isn't the point. You know, it's really not that big of a deal to me if I don't love a card. I got the week finished, it looks good, it all goes together, and that's good enough for me. Now I threw down that red chevron card. That actually ends up being the one that I hate. I don't hate it the way that it is, I actually love it the way that it is, but then I kind of mess with it, and it doesn't look as good. Now I'm looking for 4x6 cards. I need filler ones. I needed one originally, and then I forgot to print the photo, and I couldn't find it real quick. So I end up needing two, which is just fine. It doesn't bother me at all. I still have captured the way that the week ended up looking, so I'm cool with that. Now I'm removing that yes circle, which I really like a lot, and I'm going to add this particular photo to the back of that wood veneer frame. I knew I really wanted to use it. I had just forgotten about it. So I adhere the photo to the frame, trim off the top, and then it is perfect. Now, as you can see, the layout has a bulk of it being finished thanks to some filler cards. However, there's still a couple of things I want to add, including some typewriter journaling. So I'm going to break out the typewriter and some white cardstock and just type out a few words that will go right on top of that BTS card, and then also that wood veneer 3x4 card as well. I could have written directly on that 3x4 card, but I was worried a little bit about the ink feathering on the wood veneer, and I knew that just wouldn't look very good. And so I decided that since I was using the typewriter already, I could just type the names onto the piece of white cardstock, and it would really turn out just a-okay, and those two cards would tie together, having that similar journaling. So that's what I'm doing off screen right now, is just working on the typewriter just for a little bit, getting out the basic details that are needed for this particular page, which really obviously has a lot to do with the first day of school. So now I just, as you could see right there, I used just a piece of scrap cardstock. I didn't get anything new out or anything like that. It seems like a waste to me, especially with a typewriter when you only need such a tiny amount anyway. So now I have trimmed that up, and I'm trying to figure out where it'll fit right on this card, and I found a spot, and I'm just going to adhere it down. And then that's it. That's done. And what's cool about it is that the typewriter allows you to get more text on there. It's neat. It's got that vintage feel. It's a little bit different. I use my handwriting a lot in this project, and actually in my 12x12 scrapping as well, but I really do like using the typewriter, and it sort of seems to go in cycles when I use it. Sometimes I get really in the habit and I use it a lot, and then sometimes I don't use it as much. Now I'm trimming up the little strips for that BTS card and figuring out where I'm going to place them once I get the patterned paper underneath it. So I'm just sort of playing around with the design right now and figuring out how they're going to all go on there, and then I will add the patterned paper underneath. I actually already had a vision for this card, which is nice, so I didn't have to do a whole lot of playing. I knew what I kind of wanted it to look like. And oddly, because this doesn't actually happen to me very much, while I was working on that, I had another idea of a 4x6 card. It's a grid, sort of like a tic-tac-toe board, I guess, because I guess there are 9 spaces in it, and it's got an off-white background with the yellow for the lines, and that's what I end up using, that upper space, and I'll get it out in a minute. Now, as you can see, I'm going to trim down that cardstock and patterned paper that says BTS, and I think that that turned out really cute, and I'm very happy with it. It gave me exactly the look that I was looking for. You can definitely, the BTS, the patterned paper behind it really stands out, and that's exactly what I wanted. But I wanted to keep it light and bright, so that's why the white base is very good. Now I think that this is where I end up screwing up that 3x4 card. Maybe not. Maybe I wait till later to screw it up. I don't know. Anyway, I do end up screwing it up, but so clearly I'm sort of working still in that little space with the stars, trying to figure out what I'm going to put there, because I do not want to put the lovely there because I don't think it fits overall with the rest of the theme. So I trim another piece of the patterned paper and put one of the cut-aparts on there, which is super cute, and I actually ink the edges first, something I don't do all that often, but I wanted to add a little bit of something to stand apart, since both of these have a white background, and the inking actually did just that. Now the card is super cute, but like I said, I don't actually end up leaving it there because I use a different one that was included in the kit, the one that looks kind of like a tic-tac-toe board, but I do actually use that card on the other side, so there's nothing to worry about there. Now there's the card that I talked about. There it is. Now it actually ends up being super perfect, and it's really great for journaling. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down some items. I'm hoping to get 8 to fill those spots with. So I want to use the alphabet stickers and write one word with the alphabet sticker, and then I'll go back and handwrite any things that I need to also add, but 8 things that had happened during the week that were of note that I wanted to include on that particular card. So kind of like a week in review card. It also ends up being the date card for this particular layout as well. So as you can see, that card is nice and basic, so it really gives me a good base to work on this particular slot. It doesn't add anything that competes in the background. You just only look at what I'm adding to the card. But what I like about the yellow is that it ties in with that BTS card, and it also just provides a pop of color, and really it's cool contrasting with the red alphabet stickers as well. So like I said, I don't want to add any more than one word with the red alphabets. I want to just keep those really simple and basic and have those pop out at you. And then I'll add a little bit of handwritten journaling just to fill in extra words that are needed to tell the story of that particular square/day. This card is one of the more time-intensive cards that I really have actually ever done. Since most of mine are fairly simple and straightforward, I don't usually actually have to do a whole lot to a card or spend a whole lot of time on a card, since I do tend to keep this project fairly simple. But this one was really fun, and it was fun thinking back over the week of the different things that we had done. Now I'm spelling out B-Day instead of birthday for this one, and I probably should have used something a little bit smaller for the dash or whatever between B and D, but I used one of the wood veneer sequins that came with the kit, and I love them. They're very, very cute, but they don't really work that well in this space, which is okay. Again, it's really not that big of a deal, and it doesn't bother me that much. Otherwise, I would have taken it out, but in hindsight, I really probably should have used something a little bit smaller. Maybe just like a little enamel dot or something like that. As you can see, I am still continuing to fill up those squares with all of the different words. Now the fun thing with this is that I tried to not put them all in the same spot. I know that probably looks like, yeah, they're all kind of in the same spot. But the rectangles are fairly small, so it really wasn't that easy to keep them, change them up a little bit. But I did try to put some at the top, some at the left, some at the right, that kind of thing, to not make them all the same. Now there's those wood sequins I was talking about that I didn't actually love. And here is my Sharpie marker that I am going to use to finish up the journaling. Now I'm just going to add a word here and there on the squares or rectangles that need it, and a couple I will definitely just leave blank because they don't need any further explanation. The one word is plenty. And you will see that I left a rectangle open that I didn't write anything in there, and I'm going to just pull out my roller date stamp, and I'm just going to stamp the 2 dates on there to indicate this particular week. And then voila, we have a date card for this particular layout. And a whole lot of sort of journaling, I guess. I mean, that's really kind of what it is, right? So that works out perfectly. Now, I'm still a little confuddled as to what to do, and I probably should have just left well enough alone, because this is where that red card comes in that I don't love. I put the orange cut apart down, and I put the Yes wood veneer right on top of that, and I layer them all together. Now, individually, they're fantastic. All together, I don't love them. To make matters worse, I take this blue marker and I color the wood veneer, and that part's okay too. That's really not that big of a deal. I just am not sure that is what I should have done. I probably, like I said, should have just left well enough alone and kept the red chevron card there. But I didn't, and it's done now, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm not going to go back and do anything to it or anything like that. So I'm just going to tidy up in the slightest bit so that I can get to work on the right side of this layout. Now I'll pull out the template for the other side and get started, and I'll go ahead and start laying out my photos based on where I had mapped them out before in my notebook. And I have 3 4x6 cards, and then I have, I think, 2 3x4 cards, and then, like I had told you previously, I'm going to just use that patterned paper one again. So, or instead of over on the other side, I'm going to use it on this page. And it's great because it ties the 2 pages together using that same patterned paper. And I pulled out the other 2 3x4 cards that I had pulled out, that alphabet one, which I like the tie-in with the first week of school, you know, sort of the ABC school thing. And then the other one with the clocks on it, I thought that was awesome because I could put down the time we get up, the time we go to school, the time we come home, and that's really cool because it's different from last year since my kids are in a new school, and it works out great. Now I'm just going ahead and very simply labeling that one 3x4 card. I used a vellum tag at the top and then just a couple of alphabet stickers. Now I'm going to hand draw the hands from the clock, but then I will go ahead and use my typewriter to write what that time symbolizes. I could have absolutely just handwritten it. That wouldn't have been a big deal. It totally would have been fine. I just wanted to provide cohesiveness from that side to the left side. And then also I knew it would look a little bit neater since my handwriting isn't particularly neat. So I thought that that would just work better for this particular card. It's not always what I'm looking for, but in this case it was. There, now it's finished, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I thought that that typewriter was definitely the right way to go. I would not have been quite as happy if I had used the other handwritten option. Now, I'm looking through the cut-aparts and trying to find the perfect one to use, which, you know, saying perfect is difficult because it's not always, you know, so much perfect or, you know, not perfect, but the one that would go best with this particular photo. And what's kind of weird is that it's a really pretty, like, little orchid color, but I just decided, you know what, let's just use it. Let's throw it on there. I like the way that it looks with the blue sky, and so I did. It doesn't really match anything else on my spread, but it doesn't really matter. It all sort of ties together, and I think it looks just fine. So now I have a few different pieces of this page finished, including that entire center section. And now it's time to work on some of the other cards. So I'm going to cut out that little gray and white part of the cut-aparts and then just go ahead and adhere it to the night swimming photo, which is in the lower left-hand corner. And I knew that I wanted to add some alphabet stickers to this one, but I didn't have enough to do all of them. So I figured I could do part of it with the stickers and then part of it handwriting on this label. So I have to trim up an F to make it an I because I'm already out of I's, but it's okay, it doesn't bother me, that's not a big deal. and I feel like it's just sort of being resourceful and making my alphabet stickers stretch a little bit further. So I finish that up, and then I will go ahead and use probably my Sharpie pen, which I use a lot, and just get it right down here on that label so that then that particular card is also finished. Now I got to finish just adding that little label sticker on the left-hand side, and I love it. It's a really pretty peach color. And just get to talk about finish unpacking, because that's what that photo is, just one of the last spaces in the house to need to be unpacked. So that is it for this particular layout. I hope that you've enjoyed it and enjoyed my look at how I put together week 33 of my project life with the Scraptastic Kit Club kits. I hope you enjoyed the elements of the kit and how I used them. And if you did enjoy this video, I would so appreciate it if you would leave me a thumbs up. And thank you for watching, and make it a fantastic day.